Carries the flame? Who carries the flames? Who carries the flame? Collage and Feminism from Hannah Höch to Contemporary Collage.
meist zitierten Bilder von Hannah Höch heißt die Haussprüche. Einer der Sprüche lautet vom Oberdada Bader: Ohne dieses Lesepult kann überhaupt keine Literatur verstanden werden. Hannah Höch war meine Tante und es gibt keinen Garten, der so sehr mein Onkel ist wie dieser. Und dann gilt natürlich für mich der Satz, vielleicht nicht nur für mich, in diesem Garten kann Hannah Höch überhaupt nicht verstanden werden. Diese Aufnahmen stammen von 1976, als Hannah Höch Professor wurde. Und sie sagte vor der Verleihung im Schöneberger Rathaus, Klaus Schütz war übrigens der Verleiher, und es muss angemerkt werden, dass er gelächelt hat bei diesem Ereignis. Sie sagte vorher, meine Blumen werden sich freuen. Und später, nachdem wir sie in Heiligensee gefeiert hatten, sagte sie, nun geht nach Hause und lasst mich meinen Professortitel allein genießen. Dieser Garten war damals leuchtend und lebendig und für alle Sinne genießbar. Wenn sie aus dieser Veranda rausging, streifte sie mit der Hand durch den Lavendel, durch den Rosmarin und am Diptam vorbei und prüfte den Duft. Besucher wurden den Blumen vorgestellt. Und
This is the Hannah Höch house and garden in Berlin. In Berlin, Heiligensee. It's a See means lake. Então, and then she lived there for the most part of her life. Garden, I was thinking about garden when I see Hannah Höch life and work as a refuge, service, and an invitation to also understand nature. He's in the photo is her in the beautiful book about her house. Her house and garden is something very important to understand her work. The garden is an invitation to understand of nature, just as a garden provides a space for retreat and renewal. Höch found in her own garden a place where the social and political anxieties of her time could be transformed into new composition, brimming with meaning. To survive the Nazi regime, the artist took refuge in a secluded house in the Lake District of Berlin, Heiligensee, a location that became a central theme in her work, serving as a sanctuary for processing the suffering and the trauma of war. Beyond this protective function, the garden also fulfilled the vital role of a food source for the artist. Höch, who had to keep her artwork hidden until the end of the Second War, subsisted on what she harvested from the garden and on fruits, vegetables, and flowers she was able to sell. The first image that we see is the image from the garden that helps a lot. And I think it's important to say that I started to talking about the garden because I think it's something very also important to her, but also a thought, ecological thought at that time. The garden served as a source of inspiration for her for many reasons, but above all, it became the place where she felt safe. Hannah Höch garden stands simultaneously as a symbol of perseverance and of the plant's own resistance to intolerance and oblivion. How cultivate food in a sustainable manner, enable her to nourish herself and survive by selling her products. I think it's also important to say that, because many times we know about an artist only for the artworks and not how they live. The artist's avant-garde spirit was also evident in the care and the courage she displayed by burying her own collage and as well of those of the others persecuted artists. At that time, she was part of the Dada movement, and she cared the whole, not the whole, but the most part of the art that we can see now in museums and archives. She cares, and she, for a long time, preserved this. I think it's also something important about the garden, the relevance about the garden for her and for us, because we can see some artworks today because this. Whenever you want to force this photo matter to yield new forms, we must be prepared for a journey of discovery. We must start without any preconceptions. Most of all, we must be open to beauties, wandering and extravagant, obligingly enrich our fantasy. Hannah Höch. I visited the house and the garden in 2017 and changed a lot my way to see her. That's why I started this idea of the house and the garden.
Finalmente aqui na casa da Hannah Höch, pelo jardim, a casa onde ela vivia. Super emocionada de entrar aqui.
Collage as elements of the role. Hannah Höch, an influential figure who played a crucial role in the evolution of collage technique and in addressing issues related to gender, politics, and culture during a period of intensive social and political change in Europe and across the globe. Recognized as a pioneer in the creation of feminist collage, Höch worked with images from magazine, newspapers, and advertising, with women frequently serving as a central element of her compositions. Through her works, she raises provocative questions regarding sexuality, gender issues, and the role of women in society, while simultaneously fervently advocating for women's suffrage and for new opportunities for women. When I think about her, I always think about collage as cut with kitchen knife. Cut with the Dada kitchen knife, one of the most important work, and provocative work at that time, 1919. Hannah Höch was prohibited and persecutions and suffered many reasons because her art was seen as something not only provocative but also dangerous, a danger art at the time. We see in this amazing collage a lot of figures, public figures, that he is criticizing and put in the public space so people, really understand that collaging at that time, in this time of Dadaist, is also something that people and the artists used to really go forward and criticize in front of people what they are dealing with. And we can see in the center a woman dancing. I don't know if you can see. This is important because the only woman is this one. Can you imagine the time of Dada is also a time that performance, installation, and many arts that we know nowadays these artists start using these mechanisms. Feminism emerges as an essential guiding thread, underscoring its pioneering influence in challenging patriarchal norms. Through her incisive collage, Höch gave voice to the feminist experience, a concept still its influence within the society of her time, frequently portray young women as central figures of power and autonomy, at once satirized and poetized in their beauty. Also contextualizing her struggle within a world where women were actively redefining their roles and rights. Hannah believed in freedom and challenged conventional concept of relationships, beauty, and gender. I looked this collage for a long time ago, but this week I found this really impressive to see this idea of the father in 1920 is the people, the person that carries carries the baby. I think it's around a century. And she's also put these ideas also very clearly about the idea of motherhood and many kind of subjects that we are dealing until today, right? It's also a series. I saw, for example, this beautiful collage, amazing collage at MoMA. This is a part of MoMA archives. And there is this series, Ethnographic Museum. I have one more here. And she she took some images from Africa, from sculptures, and this idea that how to mix cultures and think. She always think about how to change the bodies, right? How to put different cultures, different parts, different ideas of what is beauty, how to is also could say how to live together. And this series is also almost a century ago, and I found this so avant-garde, or until now. I want to show that small can be large, and the large is small. It is just this standpoint from which we judge that changes. I would like to show the world today how it's seen by a bee, and tomorrow how the moon sees it. I brought here some of my reference also in France, in Brazil, and to think about the resonance of this kind of ideas of Hannah Höch, of gender, politics, and this thing. Lenora de Barros. I could say procuro-me as something, if someone knows better the translation, but it could be search myself, right? And she did a lot of these, many performances, right? I will tell it here. Lenora de Barros, born 1953, is a prominent Brazilian visual artist and poet whose work exploring the intersection between language, the body, and the environment. She's using many medias, including photography, videos, performance, and sound installation. I found this very related to the idea of collage and how to deal with your body. And I will pass three of these artists that I brought for today. Ventura Profana. Ventura Profana, born in 1993, is a Brazilian multidisciplinary artist, called herself as a missionary pastor and singer who subverted religious narratives to advocate for Black and trans liberation, based in São Paulo and originally from Salvador, Bahia. It's the most part of the collages are digital. Geviana, born in 1986, is an influential Brazilian visual artist, known for insurgent visual narratives that blend indigenous and Afro-diasporic identity with contemporary street art. Born in a village in Centro do DT in Maranhão and currently based in São Luís. Her work, they work uses photography, collage, and urban interventions to challenge colonial stories and to celebrate marginalized cultures. The names you can find more, but they are huge. Three of my huge reference in Brazil, and the idea is to, since Hannah Höch, to now think about how to exist or re-existence as a strategy of continuity, resistance, and reinvention. This is something to say goodbye. Is a Marilyn Monroe mount that Hannah Höch using in the 60s. I would like to thank you, the Residence Unlimited team, for having and carrying me, Julia, Data, hey, and all of you guys. This project could not have happened without the full support of my family, especially my brother, Thiago Eichner, Larissa Ferreira, that is here, from Larissa Ferreira from NXB Projects, Camila Leichter, Anya Lutz, Flora Lauerta, and Luisa Barreto. And that's the questions also for you and for us to think and to talk about it. Thanks so much. We'll finish.